So what's this podcast all about? Well, it's all about being the real you, but also being better than the real you, but also about de-hypnotizing you, which is really strange because I'm also going to do a hypnosis track to go with it. It's all very confusing, but as usual, it may just make all the difference to you right now. Have a listen.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Well, I've gone counterintuitive now on a number of things, all about the same thing. You see, on my notes, I've made like my meta description of all of what we're going to talk about today, which is you don't have to be a better, or I'm going to start that again. You don't have to be better than you are. Just be you, because that's who you are. And we've talked a lot in previous podcasts about, CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. Let's be 1% better than before, But then I started to think, I really, 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 really believe that if we only improve 1%, it's a massive improvement over a period of time. But then I had to think, what direction do you go to be better than you were before? But then I'm also saying you don't have to be better than you are, because I think sometimes we're forgetting how much things change and what we really ought to be doing. Like in therapy. When we do therapy, it's not about hypnotizing people to find new things. Sometimes it's like de-hypnotizing them. It is letting go of things so we can review and learn from the past so we can create this wonderful future of ours in the now. And I know I've already told this story before, but just briefly give you an idea what I'm talking about for those of you who haven't heard. And if it's a reminder for you, then that's good as well. You see, when I was going through my dark and dismal days of being, just searching for things and really in that dark place, and I was always looking for the old Paul, because I thought the old Paul was a pretty good old Paul. I felt comfortable with the old Paul. And I knew at that time, I certainly didn't feel that way. So therefore I wasn't the old Paul, and I was having problems with the Paul I was. And when I used to speak to people about this, and when I went on my trainer's training, talking to people about this in the evenings, about, really looking to be the old Paul again. And he kept saying, well, the bits we see look pretty good. But again, we're not seeing everything, I guess, because things are hidden inside. And the more I worked on myself, I realized the old Paul had some really good bits in, but the old Paul also had a lot of the stuff that had led to the place I was at right there, right then. And so did I really want the old Paul back again? And the obvious answer is no. I want the real Paul, the real me, the true me, the integrated, the congruent, the me that's singing from my true voice, showing up as me. So this is that counterintuitive sort of bit. I think I'm bigging this up a little bit on the counterintuitive style, but it was about taking away things that was now getting in the way. So what limiting beliefs did I have that were, although they were trying to protect me at that time, I'm sure, they were still limiting me. They weren't allowing me to be free. And did I feel safe and protected? Oh, did I bugger? No way did I feel safe and protected. The emotions I was feeling, again, I'm sure when I first felt them, they were for that wonderful positive intention. But now the conflict was there, and I didn't feel the real me, the old me, or any me, apart from the me that I didn't like. So where do we go to get type of this closure comes to mind, but it's not closure, it's this taking away, this de-hypnotizing. And I thought to myself, I know I'd been to a retreat before. And again, that was very therapeutic in it, just being and having time with myself. And that was it was a letting go. It was like understanding, acknowledging, and then letting go of stuff that I just realized I didn't need. And how did I realize that? Somehow, consciously and more unconsciously, I was learning from the things that created that. And I do my cleansing semi-retreats where I go away by myself for a day or two and just do process on process, just to let things go and learn. And So it's all about taking away. Now, Jenny journaling, for me, can be just that same thing by just letting go. So just acknowledging and letting go, and then asking questions in that journal of how can I learn from this? When I learn from this, what can I use and what can I access to make my life better? All these things are a way of getting things out, putting them on the table, put them in the book, and learning from them. And then I think if we could do that 1% a day, you're then able to see more clearer and learn. Now, when you think about it, you've got to start, though, from a positive belief that there is a real you there. And I know that. I know there's a real you and there's a real me. And I have all the resources we need. And all those resources are our skills, the things that we can do, the things that we know, our learnings, our values, our beliefs. All these wonderful things are the things that, well, they're infinite in their potential. I really believe that. And if I start from that, I do know then I've got the skills to take things away and then add back. And it's just a matter of then learning to access these type of things. And in some ways, I see this as part of yours and mine hero's journey, because I think we're on more than one hero's journey. But this particular one about, shedding our skin, as it were, shedding our skin of the bits that we don't want. Because you see, if you remember, maybe you don't remember, I'll remind you. There's an NLP communication model, which basically is that there's an external event, what you think is reality, and it comes into you through your 5 senses, your sight, your hearing, your touch, your taste and smell, and any other sense you believe in. But then it gets filtered. It gets filtered with deletions, distortions and generalizations in conjunction with other filters, such as your experiences from the past, your values, your beliefs, your attitudes, all those different types of filters. And then when we filter everything that comes in, we create our internal reality of the external reality. We create pictures in our mind, we create emotions, we create our physiology, and they're all interlinked like a little chain. And then we have a behavior. And that behavior is either something you like or something you don't, I guess, or something is just neutral. But for me, that behavior in its big picture was the Paul I didn't like. And it wasn't what I felt was the real Paul. So it was a matter of letting go. And one of the things I do with my clients, and I do with myself, I actually let go in my mind. I have a visualization in my mind to let go of the old me, because it's like I'm dragging around the old me. And while I've got the old me and I'm dragging it around, the real me, the work that I've been doing to expose the real me, well, I'm not connected to it. So I need to do that. And it works so wonderfully well. And it also works with other people. If you need to let go of other people in your life, the people you're dragging around. Because there's another story of mine, how I used to do this process, but I didn't realize at that particular time, I used to do it with a lot of people and then myself. But a friend of mine, I was trying to leave a particular business and go to do things on my own. I told you before about, I really felt that the business that I was in, when I left, they wouldn't be able to cope without me. So I was really attached to my partner in that way, that I just felt that if I pulled away, he would be helpless. And someone took me through this type of process where I imagined seeing him in front of me and noticing how I was connected to him. Now, sometimes I see a connection like an umbilical cord or maybe a fine gossamer thread. But with him, it was like beams of light. And it wasn't just one. There was like 2 or 3, one from my heart, one from my head. And the weird thing was, it was one in each hand. And we were always connected. So as I moved in my mind, he would move too. We were always connected. And so for me to suddenly turn around and move in my own direction, metaphorically and in my, somewhere inside, I was pulling him along. So it was as if I had to let him go. I had to cut those cords, had to cut those light beams, as it were. But before I did that, because just cutting them, that didn't seem that I was grateful for the support that he had given me. So it was a matter of just sitting down quietly, again, seeing him in front of me, seeing those connections. And just before I cut those cords, turned off those lights. With my internal voice, I just told him what I felt, how grateful I was for all the support, all the help he'd ever given me, and to let him go, to wish him well, to give him all the support I could in a different way. And I was going on my own. And the weird thing was, when I said that, instead of being down, he smiled and nodded, like a nod of approval for me. And the lights, those connecting lights, just suddenly turned themselves off. And it was like he just disappeared, gently walking away in the distance to do his thing. So in some ways, I was holding him back as well, because he couldn't do and run his business the way he wanted to, because he knew that, well, whilst he knew I wanted to leave, he also knew that I hadn't left, and he wasn't going to force me away because we worked so well together. So in some ways, I was holding him back from making decisions to run his business and run his life the way he wanted to. And as soon as I did that, I went and spoke to him the following day, and it was as if we'd had that conversation in real life. I told him, Mike, it's time I'm moving on. And he went, oh, thank God for that. Now I feel so good about this. I'll support you in whatever you want to do, Paul. You take your time. You tell me the program, and I will just get on and make sure it happens. And we both felt good about it. So how can you do this with yourself, though? So this is what I do with my clients. We can do it in trance, or we can just do it as a visualization. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a hypnosis track for you. So it'll be sort of visualization, hypnosis, but I'll explain how I'm going to do it so you know. Because when you know what's going to happen, there's no shocks, no surprises, and you know everything's going to be absolutely wonderful. So what I'm going to be doing, and this is what I do with my clients, I have them see a reflection, as it were, of themselves standing in front of them. Their old you, or their old selves. Their old self that they've been dragging around, carrying around, pulling around, and notice how they're connected. And as I say, some people see an umbilical cord. Some people see different lights, different connections, different threads. Whatever you see. And it can be different at any one time with the same person or different people. But just notice what you notice. And as you notice that, also notice standing beside you is this evolved you. The you that has this skin that has been shed, as it were, with those negative beliefs and negative emotions that have disappeared because you've learned. And in fact, that you that's standing beside you has all those learnings, all those positive learnings now to support you. So knowing they're standing beside you, looking at you and supporting you, you're not connected yet, but the word is yet. Look back at that old you, notice that connection, and spend a few moments with your internal voice, thanking that old you for all the hard work they've ever done for you, that they've supported you, been with you forever, as it were, going through those experiences, having those learnings, but just not learnt yet, but doing everything for wonderful, positive intentions. And as you thank them, we then decide we're going to cut those ties or just turn off, if they're lights, we're going to turn off the beam. And then we'll go something like 3, 2, 1, whoosh, and notice the connections just disappeared. But what we're going to do instantaneously, we're going to turn to that new you, the real you beside you, and connect. And as you connect, look at that new you beside you with all those wonderful resources, all those wonderful learnings. And as you look, just say welcome. Welcome. Let's do this together as one. And as you look back to the old you, you can notice that old you disappearing into the past and wish them well, because that's where they belong. But then notice that you beside you coming closer into you to become one, because parts don't work and wholeness is our aim, our outcome. So allow the two of you, the you now and the new you, to come together, to integrate all those learnings, all those added resources without the negatives, the negative beliefs, the limiting beliefs and negative emotions, with those wonderful goals, with all those learnings that's going to support you. And then, with that wonderful sense of achievement and gratitude, we'll come back into the world and just get on with our life. Now, how good would that be? And you see, that is improving, I believe, more than 1%. But it's just a process to add to this being 1% better than the day before. but letting go as you improve. So you'll never be better than who you are because you'll be you. It's being like a cleansed you, I guess. Or, well, it'll be you. And you can do this process whenever you feel maybe an aha moment or something that you've learned, and you can just go back and reconnect to new. And that's all we need to keep doing. And after a while, again, this is another belief of mine, if you do this a few times, it's as if you could just ask your unconscious mind to do it itself as part of this cleansing process or letting go process of de-hypnotizing ourselves. So there you go. I will do a hypnosis track for you on this. You know where it'll be. It'll be under or be at paulcloughonline.com/podcast. And for those of you are already in that community and get access to those hypnosis tracks, I'll send you an email and I'll tell you where it is so you can click the link and come back to them all. And it'll be there for you to download if you choose. Remember, it's hypnosis though. That's all I say. Remember, it's hypnosis. So whenever you listen to them, please just find that wonderful place where you could just do the hypnosis so that nothing else needs your attention. Just a little bit of belt and braces because we do want the best for you. Well, I do. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it made sense. I think it made sense to me. As I always say, I'm never quite sure because when I ramble, it's a sort of guided ramble, but in effect, and in summary as it were, whilst I'm looking to guide and help you be 1% better and more every day, by letting go, it allows us to learn even more. Take away the negative filters and keep the learnings. So the whole world your reality is different and is a better reality for you to live in and share. And as that reality evolves around you, the people in it, well, they evolve too, don't they? Be the change you want to see in others. So be the change you want to see in you. Simples as that. Enjoy, have more fun than you can stand, and let me know. Let me know by email, by Twitter, anything like that. It's at @pcluffy on Twitter. Let me know what's happening and if there's anything you want me to talk about. Anyway, for now, until next time, Paul Clough, Personal Development Unplugged, and yeah, I'll speak to you real soon. Oh, and before you go, you know this thing, it's always new now. If you would like those hypnosis tracks and you haven't enlisted, just go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast and you'll get a little box to fill in your email address. I then send you an email which gives you the access to all those hypnosis tracks. There's getting on towards 30 now. They're all downloadable, so you don't have to worry about having a dodgy Wi-Fi. You can put it on whatever you choose, get the old earphones in, relax and enjoy. Pick and choose, play, do it more than once. So that's my gift to you. Just as you know, don't share your emails ever to nobody. I just update you with new hypnosis tracks and maybe the odd free hypnosis gift or NLP process. Secondly, if you would, and if you have got anything out of this particular podcast or any of the others, will you share it? Just share it to someone who you feel would be a benefit. And the whole point about this though is you're never quite sure if it would be a benefit really, because people hide what's happening. So if you just give it to them, let them find out all this wonderful information. You know, there's 150 plus 5-minute quickies. There's over 100 longer podcasts. There's information all over. So if you would share that with people, all your friends, everybody, doesn't take too long. Just get the link or something and just send it out to all your people, all your friends. And that would be great. It's a bit like pay it forward. And then ask them to pay it forward. That would be awesome. Anyway, having said all of that, please just have more fun than you can stand. And I'm going to speak to you soon. Bye-bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.